Oh God, why did I decide to wear jeans? Can you even tell that I'm wearing jeans? I guess if I put my leg like this. Why did I wear these jeans? Anytime I'm drinking one of these, I feel like I'm just pounding a 40, even though this is a 14, but I'm always trying out these little kombucha things. Is that how you say it? Is it kombucha? Kombucha. How do we know if it's a ch or a k? Kombucha? I don't know. This one's mint lemonade, but it literally just tastes like beer, basically. Anyways, today's video is going to be about two things. It's going to be a book favorites video, and also we're going to do a little chef stuff at the end for a recipe that I made last night. It's amazing. I've made it several times, but first we're going to talk about some books because you guys have been begging me to do an updated book favorites video. And I hear you guys because I follow a lot of bloggers and I love when they do book favorites because it gives me some ideas. These actually, I don't think they were recommended by anybody. I just kind of came across them in my search for a new book. So I think I have 5 or 6 here that I'm going to summarize for you guys. They're not in any particular order. They're just some that I read recently. So just to update you guys, if you have not watched any of my book videos, I like kind of mystery, love stories, and Holocaust. That's my genre. Not necessarily all in one, but those are like my 3 favorites. So I don't like anything too violent or too sexual or too just realistic, I guess. So just take that with a grain of salt. So I'm gonna get started, and yeah, the first one is the one that I just finished 2 days ago. This one I read really quickly, actually. So this one is called The Husband Hour by Jamie Brenner. I have everything on my phone here summarized to what I want to say. So if I keep referencing my phone, that's what that is. Also, this is a life-proof case because I get a bajillion questions about that. So this book is about a woman named Lauren, and she was married to this guy named Rory. He was a professional hockey player turned soldier. So basically, if you are like a military wife or in that life, this might be like a little bit sensitive of a subject for you guys, but just wanted to give you a little heads up. So he stops playing hockey, enlists in the military, and he is killed in the line of duty during his deployment. So after that happens, Lauren, she completely blames herself and she moves across the country, isolates herself to this tiny little beach town at her family's beach house, and she lives there. So now it is 4 years since her husband has passed away, and this guy named Matt is looking for Lauren. So Matt is a journalist, a filmmaker. So he is trying to make a film about Rory, her husband's life, his legacy, what had really happened to him, because it just doesn't seem to add up. So when he finds Lauren, she's like, absolutely, there's no way that I would ever do a movie about my husband. So basically the whole book, she's denying him, and then she reaches a breaking point that she's like, I have to tell the truth about what really happened. So it's a really good story. It had quite a bit of a twist at the end, but it's really good. And I think I'm gonna definitely read more books from this author just because I really enjoyed her style of writing. It was really easy to read and I just really enjoyed it. So that's the most recent one that I read. The one before that is a fairly newer one. It's called Someone Knows by Lisa Scottoline. I've actually read another book by her called After Anna, and that one was good. I'm not sure if I ever talked about it on here. But anyways, this is about a group of 4 high schoolers who make this crazy decision one night to play Russian roulette. So if you don't know what Russian roulette is, basically is you put a bullet in the chamber and you don't know when you fire it when it's gonna go off. It's like just kind of like random. So these 4 teenagers make this decision to play Russian roulette. And so obviously it goes tragically and horrifically wrong, and so the 4 never speak to each other. They go about their separate ways. They don't talk about what happened that night. They're living with this secret. So 20 years later, they all reunite and they're basically trying to figure out what really happened, because somebody knows what really happened. Who loaded the gun? you know, what really is the story behind this? So they've been harboring all these secrets for all of these years, and, you know, finally they're gonna figure out what really went down that night. So the story is told from each of their point of views, like in the past and in the present, and it's really, really good. There's a huge twist at the end, and yeah. Definitely would recommend that one. Okay, so the next story is called House on Fire by Bonnie Kistler. So this is another really, really good one. It is about a husband and wife named Pete and Lee, and they're both on their second marriage. And they're really happy together. They both have children from their previous marriages, so they're kind of like the modern day Brady Bunch, but they mesh so well as a family. Like, they all love each other so much. So Pete and Lee are out of town one weekend, and they get this call that Kip and Chrissy had been in a car accident. They were at a house party, and Kip drove home and crashed into a tree, and then Chrissy ends up dead, and it's just basically this whole crazy mess. Kip said that Chrissy was driving, but she's dead, so how is she really gonna tell the story? So Kip is potentially gonna go to jail for what happened to Chrissy, and basically throughout the book, Pete and Lee have to decide whether they are going to unite as husband and wife, or if they're gonna take sides for their children, because the children are not theirs together. They're married, but that's not his kid, that's not her kid, and it's just this whole mess. And they're trying to figure out what really went down that night, which, again, there's twists, and it's really good. Everything has a twist. It has to have a twist, or otherwise it's just like, what's the point? The next one, this one is called My Daughter's Secret by Nicole Trope. And this one I had no idea what it was about before I read it. I don't even know how I came across it. I think it might have been like in the bargain section. And so this one is about suicide. So if you have a trigger to that, you know, just be mindful, just a little heads up before you dive into this book, because I had no idea what it was even really about. So this is about a mother who finds her daughter, who was supposed to be away at college. In the middle of the night, one night, she finds her daughter has committed suicide in her home. So in the book, she's like, what is happening? She was supposed to be away at school. She's here. She would never do something like this. Like, she's a happy, you know, successful girl. Like, why would this happen? It doesn't make any sense. So after that, she's obviously, you know, engulfed by grief, and she just needs to figure out what happened, because it doesn't make sense to her. So she goes to her daughter's college to, you know, gather her belongings and try to talk to the people who had been around her the most recently. And so everyone basically says the same thing. They're like, you know, she was fine, she was good, and she didn't have a boyfriend, nothing. Like, there was no one else for her to talk to. So when she's in her daughter's room getting her things, she finds this box of letters, and it's clearly from someone she was in a relationship with, and a secret relationship. So she doesn't tell anybody about these letters, and she reads them, and as she reads them, they get more and more intense, and she's like, this has to be a link to what happened to my daughter. So in the letters is her daughter's secret, and this secret is huge, and it will literally rip her family apart. So that's why it's called My Daughter's Secret. But again, there's a really big twist at the end, and it was really good. But like I said, if you're sensitive to the suicide subject, maybe steer clear of this one, but it was a really, really good read. Then the next one, this one, there isn't really too much I can say as a summary, because when I read the summary, it doesn't really tell you a whole lot. So I had no idea what this book was about, and I feel like that's the best way to go into the book, because if you know too much, I feel like, no. I'm pretty sure that's why that the back of the book doesn't really dive into too many details. So this is about a woman who is in love with two men, Dylan Cole and Smith Reed. They're two totally opposite men, and she loves them both wholeheartedly. So it's not what you think. It's not what it sounds like. She is not cheating on anybody. I don't know, there's not really too much else to say without giving it away, and that's basically what the back cover of the book says. So it's not what you think. Has a little bit of sexual undertones in there, but it's basically like a mystery love story, and it's so good. You have to read this one. It made me cry, and when a book makes me cry, I feel like that just means something. Like, it's good. It's really, really good. The next one is called Verity. This one was pretty crazy. It is by Colleen Hoover. I love so many of her books that I have read. This one is a little bit different. This one is definitely more of a thriller. slash love story. Okay, so now that I just had a complete and total heart attack from the doorbell, we're gonna continue the story. This book is by Colleen Hoover. I love her books. This one is a little bit different. It's more of a thriller slash love story. So this is a book about a woman named Lowen. She is an author, and one day she is approached by this man named Jeremy Crawford, and he is the husband of this really famous author named Verity, and she has recently been in a terrible accident and she is in a coma. So he is approaching Lowen to potentially have her write the rest of the series that Verity has started, but she can't finish because she's in a coma, obviously. So Lowen accepts, and she goes out to their house to, you know, look at all of her notes that she has and, you know, try to like put herself in Verity's mindset. So she's living in her home with Jeremy and Verity, who's upstairs in a coma. And so she's trying to find things to help her finish this book, give her some inspiration, and she comes along this manuscript of Verity's, and she's pretty sure it's like a secret, like autobiography. It has all of these hidden awful truths about Verity and her life, and she's convinced that Jeremy knows nothing about it because there's some horrible, disturbing things in this book. So she's torn whether she should tell him about it or what she should do. But the longer that she's there in their home, the more that she is growing attached to Jeremy. So they kind of have this little fling going on, and in the back of her mind, she's thinking this Verity woman is absolutely insane. So again, there's this huge twist at the end, but this one was really, really good. I did not see it coming. It was really crazy, but I love her style of writing, and I hope that she does more books like this because it's fun to do like romance with a little bit of thriller in there. So this one I absolutely loved. So very good. And then the last one that I want to talk about is called Broken Angels by Gemma Liviero. And so this is a World War II Holocaust era book. I just really love these types of books. I'm not really sure why, but I really like how it just like takes you back in time and puts life more into perspective for you, because times were so terrible for these people. It kind of just makes you think twice about your own life. Anyways, so this book is told from 3 different point of views. The 3 are Elsie, Matilda, and Willem. Or Willem? I don't know. Will.I.am? I have no idea. Anyways, so Elsie is a young woman who discovers that her mother has tried to end her own secret pregnancy. She didn't even know that her mom was really pregnant. And once she finds out what really happened there, she joins the resistance, which is basically like this underground secret group that is trying to fight the Nazis. So she joins this group, which is obviously super dangerous. And the next one is Matilda. Matilda is this young girl who was taken away from her family and sent to this camp for shaping children into being the Aryan perfect race. So they took her because she looks like she could be part of the Aryan race, and also she speaks 2 languages. So basically they brought her to this camp to teach these other children which have been stolen from their families. So while Matilda is there, she is, you know, rebelling and refusing because she just wants to go home to her family. But amongst this, she kind of becomes like a leader amongst the children there. And then the last point of view is told by William, and he is a doctor and the son of one of the top-notch head Nazis who is very close with Hitler. So he's sent to work in the ghettos, and also he is sent to the concentration camp Auschwitz to work. And when he's there, he's absolutely horrified at what has been going on. Like, he had no idea what was really happening there, and so he feels very uncomfortable with all of the orders that he has received and the things that he has to do to these poor people. So he's struggling with that because he's supposed to be, you know, the son of this great Nazi. So he's struggling with his loyalty and then also, you know, his moral conscience. So then as the war progresses and Hitler continues to take over Europe, these 3 kind of are randomly brought together, and then you see what happens to them when they're all like a group. So it's a really, really good one. Okay, so that is the last one. I have read more, but those were the ones that really stuck out to me and that I really enjoyed. So I hope you guys check them out, or if you have read them, let me know. But now we're gonna get into some chef stuff, and I filmed this last night when I was looking a little bit less cute than I am right now, so don't mind the wardrobe and makeup change, but we're gonna get into a really freaking good recipe and I hope you guys try it. So let's go. So Chef Stuff is back, and this recipe is so freaking good, you guys. The first time that I made this, I was literally, I don't even mean to be like that person, but I was literally like shook because it tasted so good, and I had never made it before. I didn't really follow a recipe because you guys know I don't really follow instructions very well when it comes to making food. Anyways, when I tried it, I was like, this is way better than I was expecting. This tastes like restaurant level. So it is eggplant parm, and if you're not an eggplant parm person, I don't care, you should try this anyway. You can make it vegetarian very easily and do like a meatless Monday meal or something like that. But I do add turkey sausage, but obviously that's totally optional. Anyways, I'm gonna show you guys the recipe. It's actually very, very easy and not as intimidating as I thought it was gonna be. So let's do it. We're not getting a fridge tour because I have 45,000 different condiments in here. Who knows how long they've been in there? Like, that's just, it's not cute in there. Anyways, let me gather my ingredients. We're gonna get a big old eggplant, insert eggplant emoji. We're gonna get some Parmesan. We're going to get some mozzarella. All right, so here we are. I don't peel my eggplant. If you don't like the skin, peel it, but I like the skin. It gives it like texture. So you're just gonna cut the ends off first. And then you want to cut the eggplant into like 1/4 inch slices. And I'm not good at cutting, so just do your best. Okay, so now that we have these here, what you want to do to draw out the moisture so it doesn't get soggy is you want to just like sprinkle all of the slices with salt. And you can like do both sides if you want to. And I have another eggplant in the fridge. I think I'm just going to cut up like half of it. Okay, so while the eggplant is over there just kind of like doing its thing with the salt, we're gonna create our dipping stations. And so this is what makes it like lower carb in comparison to like regular eggplant parm. So for the breading, we're gonna use a mixture of eggs, and we're also gonna use a almond flour / Parmesan for our breading. So you wanna do like equal parts Parmesan, equal parts almond flour, so probably like a 1/2 cup of each or so. I don't really ever measure anything, but you get the gist. I'm also gonna add some Italian seasoning, some pepper, like a pinch or more of salt. And we're just gonna kind of like mix it together. Okay. Then on this plate, we're gonna have 2 eggs. I just wanna like beat the eggs on the plate. If it's too thick, you can add like a dash of water just to help like loosen it up a little bit. Then with the eggplant, you kind of just wanna like dab with a paper towel to absorb any of the extra water. You don't have to do this, but I read online that you're supposed to, so you know, take it all with a grain of salt, literally with a grain of salt. Okay. All right, so then we have our assembly line, and this is where shit gets messy, but it comes out really good. So basically all you have to do is dip the eggplant in the egg. I feel like I have this in like the wrong situation. I don't know how to do it. Maybe we'll do this like how we had it before. Yeah, that'll probably work. So dip it in the egg mixture, then dip it in the breadcrumb mixture. And then just put it in the greased pan, which I did not grease. All right, then put it in your greased pan. And that's literally all you have to do. So, super duper easy. And these are definitely not all gonna fit in this dish, but it's okay. Don't be put off by the almond flour. I thought it was gonna be gross, but it actually is super duper good, and you would never know that it wasn't regular breadcrumbs. And I'm not just saying that, like, you literally would never know. I wouldn't lie to you. Because I don't mind healthy food, but like sometimes it tastes like healthy food, and that's when it's not fun. Why didn't I use a bigger dish? I knew this last time and I didn't listen to myself. Look how gross my hands are. I'm gonna be cleaning out breadcrumbs from underneath my nails for like the next 6 years after this. Definitely just use a larger pan. I would recommend that, but I don't really ever follow instructions. So that's as many that are gonna fit in there. Now I'm just going to sprinkle everything with garlic powder because I'm a garlic person. And also, before I pop them in the oven, I'm just gonna spray them with some cooking spray just so they get a little bit like crispier. So I'm gonna put them in the oven for 15 minutes at 425 and then kind of like flip them to make sure they get like kind of brown on each side, and then put it back in for another like 15. This is not in the recipe, but it makes me a better chef, you know. And this wine is a STEPH Riesling, 2015 Konig's Trial. It's from my Gary V Wine Club membership. Would highly recommend that membership if you're into wine, obviously. My hair is so gross, I haven't washed it in a week, so that's why it looks like this. So we have this all nice and browned. Next, what we're gonna do is add the sauce. So now that the sausage is brown, I'm gonna add in the sauce to that pan. And just want to put a disclaimer out there, you cannot shame me for using jarred sauce because I am 0% Italian. I did the DNA test. I'm 0%, like legitimately zero, not even like a point anything. So I don't have like Italian ancestors who are gonna be rolling over in their grave because I'm using jarred sauce. Anyways, this is the sauce that I'm using. It is from the brand Rao's or Rouse, I never know how to say it, but this is actually a vodka sauce. And you know, you guys know me, I'm always adding alcohol. You could definitely make your own, but it causes flames and it's very dangerous. So just buy the sauce, it's really good. It's low in sugar and not super duper high in sodium. So I'm just gonna add this into the sausage. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep that on low while my eggplant is cooking. So I just have that on the back burner, keeping warm while my eggplant finishes up. I'm about to flip it and then put it in for 15 more minutes. Then we're gonna do some spaghetti. Mom spaghetti. There's vomit on your sweater already. Arms are heavy. I don't even remember how it goes, but you know the one. You know the one. Sometimes you just gotta lose yourself in the moment. You gotta own it and better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. If I had more of this, my wrapping skills would be better, but they're not, so. So that's what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. Not that cute, but I'm gonna dump all the sauce into here, and I'm still using my pumpkin spice life mint, even though it's freaking gray. And then I just topped it with some mozzarella cheese, and I'm gonna put it back in the oven until it's like all melty. And then for my vegetable, this is just spinach and arugula in a bag, and I'm gonna use this dressing on top. It's from Aldi's. It's the 3 cheese vinaigrette. It's super good. So here is the end result. I mean, it just looks like sauce and cheese, but there is eggplant in there and sausage and sauce. And here it is all on the plate. This spaghetti, I just added some olive oil, crushed red pepper, and some Parmesan cheese. And that's pretty much it. It's really good. Would you order this at a restaurant?
Yeah, I always do. Well, I did once.
Yeah, and it wasn't that good.
Too greasy.
This is healthy.
This is good.
It's low carb minus the spaghetti.